Oh, all right. Let's do it.
Let us go.
Let us go.
Let us go.
Guys, you might not believe this. I'm fucking tired. I'm so tired. Okay. You ready to roll?
Yes.
Always tired. I've accepted this. I'll just, joke about it. Let's see. Right? Hey! Hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino at Valley Shore Parks. James Seltzer with you. And for those on the YouTube, check us out on the YouTube. Rate and review the pod.
Look at you remember.
Auto download the pod if you
download.
want to do anything to help us out, which, if you don't, that's fine. We'll
Yes.
still love you. We're loving, wonderful people.
Equal opportunity.
But
Lovers
if you
on it
want us to
sounds wrong.
love you a little bit more, like just being honest, and if you
Yes.
want to help us out for all the, let's say free content that we have put out over the years, just hit auto download. It would really mean a lot.
Lots of content in the
It would
feed.
really mean a lot.
Yeah.
All right, Bet Parks pod coming up. We're going to talk a little DeAndre Swift and get into the NBA playoffs in a minute. But first, for those on the YouTube, check out the YouTube because you get a little.
All the videos are on YouTube. You can see it.
Yes, you get a little private content before. We usually say something before, after, whatever.
Yes.
And the thing I said before is earmuffs 1, 2, 3. I'm so fucking tired, Elliot. Every day of my life, I am so tired. Love my new job. It's super fun. The one, side effect, every second of every day I'm tired. I'm never not tired.
It's
How you doing,
almost like waking up at 3:30
buddy?
is tired. Now I will say I wake up at 5:30 most days, but I will acknowledge the mental differences.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's big.
What's crazy too is it's almost light outside now at 5:30.
Yeah,
When we
I
go
think-
to the
yeah,
car,
yeah.
it's basically light outside.
Guess what? 3:30? It ain't light.
Not as light. Yeah.
No.
Well,
But,
you know what? Being a
getting
media
through it.
mogul has its
Here's
its
the thing.
downfalls.
Here's the thing. The funny thing is, so today it's Thursday. For this, which is actually we're putting it up at the same time, so I don't need to do the.
It
we're
will be
recording
Thursday.
this day.
Yeah. There's
so-
no secrecy today.
Well, maybe someone's listening on Friday. All right, that's possible.
Yeah.
It is Thursday. I'm so tired. I forgot.
Go ahead. You got it. You got it. You got it.
Yes. What I was gonna say is, thankfully, and I love sports, there's no Sixers or Phillies tonight. I'm going to bed at like 5 p.m. You think I'm joking? I'm not. I'm going to bed at 5 p.m. tonight. I'm gonna get like 10 hours of sleep. It's going to be magnificent.
I'm guessing this means you're not going to watch Vanderpump Rules.
wait.
It's the vibe I'm getting. It was on last night. I missed it because of the game, but
tough.
yeah. I mean, look, I know you're not a big reality guy, but I have to say this. I have often said, reality shows should be up for Grammys, not
Awards.
Grammys,
No,
Oscars,
Emmys.
not that either.
Third try. You got
What's
it.
the TV
Emmys,
show one?
Emmys.
Okay. They should be up for Emmys.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question about it. This is Emmy-winning, Emmy award-worthy reality TV. And to those watching out there, I know there's listeners that watch the show or they at least watch it with their wives. You don't have to be embarrassed. It's a great quality. It is the best. It's the best reality show going. It's unbelievable.
It's, first of all, no.
Yeah, I'm
Just
telling
no.
you. I'm
Second of
telling
all,
you.
Survivor's still going. So
Well, but don't you think Survivor should be eligible for awards?
It
Just
is.
put a category.
It is.
For
There
what?
is a category.
For
it's
what?
called like best whatever, and Jon Stewart wins it, or used to win it every year. Now
Well,
it's like Stephen Colbert wins it.
That
But it's
seems
like all those shows and late night shows and reality shows are all part of the same thing. It's like non-scripted television. I don't
Yeah.
remember what the award is called, but there is an award for it. Those shows just do not win it.
well, I think there should be its own
Rightfully
category.
so.
And I think it should be like at the end
Trash
of,
reality
end of the
award.
night, pretty much.
Yeah,
No,
what
reality TV
No,
award.
it should be the last and most important award.
I would be curious to see the total like viewing audience of all these shows compared to shows that win the awards. I'd just be curious to see.
Well, I mean, like a show like Survivor has a lot more people watching than Vanderpump Rules.
Maybe. I don't know about that
I mean,
for sure.
almost definitely. I mean, it's on network television.
Yeah. Which I
It is
would
on
just be curious
CBS
to know.
every
Yeah.
Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. I mean, there's something like
Right.
13 or 14 million people who watch. I doubt that Vanderpump.
Every
Rules-
episode?
Yeah, every episode.
I cannannot believe they still make that show.
It's
Good,
amazing.
bad. I'm just saying
Best
it's
show.
pretty wild.
Shout out to Survivor. Great show. Still
You
watch
love
it.
Survivor.
It's a
man.
great show.
You
Great show.
you are probably the biggest Survivor fan I know.
Yeah.
I used to
well, me
love
and,
that
me and
show.
Brandon Lee Gunn.
Okay.
That's the only person I talk Survivor with. I have
Yeah.
no one else to talk
And the
Survivor
14 other million
with. Yes.
apparently.
Well, I
that
don't know
watch
any
it.
of them. And my wife. I mean, I watch it. All right. By the way, if you're watching the YouTube,
Right. Well, we got there
and
eventually.
you're checking out our sweet gear here.
We are
shout out to-
officially Dorking Wanderer fans.
We are Dorking Wanderer.
Dorking
fans.
Wanderers.
Dorking or Dorking?
I believe it's Dorking.
Dorking is better.
It's literally so here's a so
You
for
got
those.
kits. It's my first kit.
Oh,
ever
really?
in
All
my-
right.
What? Of course it is. What other kit would I?
That's a good point. So here's the backstory for those that don't know. So it's the Dorking Wanderers. As you guys know, we are a family here at Go Birds.
Mhm.
Somebody, a loyal listener, I'm assuming an auto downloader, purchase stake in a team, which
Love
is
it.
unbelievable.
It's phenomenal.
It's literally our own version of like Wrexham. Like,
Yeah.
you know how, God, Rob McElhenney,
Mhm.
he's an Eagles fan. He
Mhm.
bought a fifth division English team.
Mhm.
This is pretty much what we did. We're not actual owners, obviously,
Yeah,
but it's very cool.
Yeah, we're
So
theoretical owners.
anyway, it was nice of him to send that. But also, if you've been looking to get
Sweet
into
dude.
soccer and you think like, you know, you want a reason to like a team, not gonna lie, it's gonna be hard to watch their games because they're in the lowest division of English football. But I think this should be the official team.
I'm in. We're dorking.
I'm willing to
people.
sacrifice Leeds since they're about to get relegated.
Oh yeah,
anyway.
are they gonna get relegated?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
I mean, they have 4 games left. They're at 30 points. I don't think they'll get another point the rest in the final 4.
So sorry.
So look, there's
crushing.
538 has them at a 58% chance, but I think it's way higher. I've already resigned to the fact.
Yeah, it's a tough luck for you.
Relegation would really just be so cool. in
It'd be the
American
best. It would
sports.
never happen, but it'd be the best.
Yeah, it would be
It'd
really
super
cool.
All right, let's get into it. A little DeAndre Swift, then we'll look at the basketball playoffs. From a gambling perspective, it is the Bet Parks Picks Pod. But DeAndre spoke yesterday.
Yes.
We have not talked. We talked a lot about the draft. We didn't talk a ton about the basically because it happened live on the air, so we're reacting in the moment. But you've had a few days to think about it. You talked to DeAndre yesterday,
Yeah.
or were part of the press conference. And we'll get into a little DeAndre bet coming up. But your thoughts on the DeAndre move now that you have a little time to do that?
So he was impressive to talk to. Obviously in Detroit, things did not work out well for him, and I thought he did a really good job explaining that. So I didn't watch Hard Knocks last year. It sounds like maybe I should go back and do so. But I guess there was a big theme in Hard Knocks that the Lions were going to be really tough on him, and he didn't respond well to it. Must have like just a story arc that they came up with. And he said that he thought that was not portrayed fairly. I'm paraphrasing here, but that was essentially what he said. And look, he spoke highly of the Lions. He said, obviously, when they drafted Gibbs, he was well aware of kind of what was going to happen with him. But what I thought was cool about it was you can tell how excited he is to be back in Philadelphia. And we've talked a lot about culture with this team, both with the culture Nick builds. You know, we talked about with Matt Patricia. We've talked about it with the Georgia players. I do think there is a benefit, and there is a benefit to having people on the team that are just super excited to be there. Like at the end of the day, we can all pretend that everybody that plays for the Eagles is so happy they're an Eagle and they love it. I'm not saying that's not the case, but 80-90% of the people on the team didn't grow up Eagles fans, right? They're not from Philadelphia. So while they come here and they learn to love it, like Jason Kelsey and Brandon Graham, perfect examples. And hopefully that happens with Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, all these new people. But I do think there is an excitement to having somebody on the team that's from the area, grew up presumably an Eagles fan, and just is really happy to be here. So in a season where I do think it is going to be tough, not record-wise, but I think it is going to be tough just coming off the Super Bowl and all those things. I think having somebody in the building in DeAndre Swift that is just super pumped to be there is a positive.
Yeah, I don't think it could be.
Yeah.
I don't see how it could be a negative, And look, I think the Lions thing's weird. I think that, it obviously we can only know what we saw in Hard Knocks or whatever, but it was strange the way they handled him. It didn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, they drafted him high in the second round. He's someone who should have been a premium asset, so to speak. And then like Jamal Williams is stealing all his carries.
Yeah.
So it was a really strange situation. I mean, they were using other guys in the passing game, like guys I had never heard of over Swift. Like it never made sense to me how they used Swift. So I think it was a really smart move to look for a distressed asset, so to speak. And obviously one that after the Gibbs move was a asset they were absolutely going to move. And taking it up, bringing him into a better situation, to your point, a spot where he's coming home. I mean, I think this was such a no-brainer of a move. I think and to the point you made right after, and I think it's the perfect point, is like they have 2 shots to have a super elite guy. Like, but Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift have the talent to have elite seasons here, to be better than Miles Sanders was here. They just have to go out and stay healthy and do it, and you're taking 2 shots on it.
So the other thing with Swift, and I'm curious for your opinion on this. And look, everyone knows we're big fans of Dan Campbell on this pod. So far be it. Always have been,
right?
Always will be.
I know that's
yes.
true for some of
Literally
us.
never questioned him. I think he'll still be a great motivational speaker after he wins all these Super Bowls.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. But I'm curious. Yeah. That take didn't turn out well.
No, it
Although to be fair, He's not even been.
I don't remember what we bet, but I feel very good about my 7 career wins bet. I think if I haven't already won it, I think I need one more.
I don't remember what it is, but I would imagine you're going to win it. But I'm just curious what you think about the fact that he was there multiple years, and each year it seemed to at least moved off of him, whether it be for Jamal Williams or, just it doesn't seem like it feels as if they went into each year saying this can be our guy, and each year they kind of left the year saying, well, actually, he's not our guy.
Well, I don't know. I don't think they went into each year saying this could be our guy. If they did, I feel like he would have gotten more of an opportunity. He was a high second round. He was 30-something.
So that's what I mean. I mean, they had a.
But he was drafted before Dan Campbell, and then Dan Campbell comes in, and obviously he was not a Dan Campbell guy.
That's true.
There's just no other way to look at this than Dan Campbell did not have the same faith in DeAndre Swift that the person who drafted him thought the coaches would. There's no other way to put it. He was a 30-something pick, in the draft or somewhere around there, maybe 40, but he was a high second round pick, and he just never really got the opportunity. And he flashed. We remember the game 1 last year, there were moments where you're like, whoa, look at this dude.
It is crazy when you look at his year. He had, I think, 144 rushing yards that game, and then essentially did almost nothing the rest of the year. Each of his games, it was 50 yards.
He was one of those guys who was taking the first 2 rounds of fantasy and was a disaster for people. And again, the talent's there. One thing that we've said a lot about Nick and the coaching staff that he's put together over the years he's been here, and it's something he talked about in his first presser. And it's all right, is this really true or not? Is he is going to put players in positions to be successful. Yep. He is going to look at a player, Jalen Hurts, whoever you want to say, and say, all right, what do you do well? How can we emphasize that? How can we maximize that? What do you do poorly? How can we try and hide that? How can we not put you in positions where that's going to happen? I just think that go out and get a guy like Swift who clearly has talent, clearly has ability, all that stuff, put him with a coaching staff like this. At least we're going to find out what he has because they're going to put him in positions to be successful.
And we had this conversation a lot leading up to the draft with the Bijan thing is what made the idea of Bijan so attractive is, he'll come in here and succeed right away because it's such an awesome place for a running back to play. Now, the argument for Bijan was you get an elite player and you get even more production, but unfortunately that is dead. But
God, you're dealing with it well.
It's sad. But
I know all the Bijan people are really.
I would be curious. I haven't had the bravery to put this poll up yet, but I wonder what the poll results would be if you said, would you rather have, knowing now that you're going to get Nolan Smith, you're going to get him at 30, if you would rather have Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith or Bijan and Nolan Smith?
I'd rather have Jalen Carter.
Yeah, I'm torn on it. I'd just be curious to know what the fans would say. I think that now because they have Jalen,
it would definitely be Jalen.
It would skew
the draft.
Before, I think it would. Yeah,
people were in on Bijan. No matter what anyone wants to say, revisionist history. The vast majority of Eagles fans want.
Yeah, so I'd be curious to see what that poll result would have been. But what I think is going to be interesting with DeAndre Swift is, so first of all, we could have a debate. I think it would be a relatively boring one on who's better, Penny or Swift. I think they're both Penny. Guys. I think.
I do think Penny's better. If I do, in terms, I think Swift's a better receiver, obviously. But in terms of which one of those guys, if I had to, and again, I think Swift is far more likely to stay on the field than Penny, which ultimately means I probably would prefer Swift as a player overall. But if you're telling me both guys play 17 games or whatever, I think Penny's the one who has a chance to rush for 1,500 yards.
And so you think Penny's a better runner?
I think Penny's a significantly
better. Okay.
I think Penny's a very good runner. Look, Penny was a first-round draft pick, as a running back. And I know that teams make that mistake all the time, but Rashad Penny is
unless it's Bijan,
super talented. So, but look, I think Swift has a lot of talent too.
So Swift was 35th overall.
So I knew it was a third.
Yeah, so it's high.
Yeah. So Rashad Penny was 31, I think. So it's not like they're that far apart draft capital wise.
So with Swift and Penny, I do think the running back duo, they actually complement each other really well.
I agree with you.
Let's ignore the if they stay healthy thing. Because it's a big question, but ultimately...
We all know it.
Exactly.
We can't say every time we say Rashad Penny's name if he says something. We get it.
Right.
We know that.
If they're both healthy, for the last time this pod...
That was a good job right there.
They do complement each other well. Right. What I wonder, though, is if you look at Sirianni's history with using running backs, if he wants a number one guy... or if he is willing to do a committee, or if he's going to have one main guy. Because he's always done it that way. Miles was the number one guy. When he was with the Colts, he had number one guys. Really, the only year where his starting running back didn't have over, I think, 100 or 120 plus more carries than anybody else was the year Miles got hurt. And he's still at 50 plus carries. So he was on pace to kind of be that 100 plus guy. So when you talk about, you mentioned fantasy, and we'll look at it from a gambling perspective, but total yards for Swift or Penny, we can bring Penny into this. I'll be curious to see how you use him, because when you look at Swift, and when they initially traded for him, we were live on air. I remember thinking, oh, well, he's hurt all the time, just like Penny.
Yeah, he's not.
It's really not true.
13, 14, 13.
Right. So, of course, I have all the stats up, and now it's not.
I know he played he hasn't played less
than
13
13, and 14 games. Not many starts, but starts like
a couple of those
stat.
here and there and stuff. But.
Yeah. So that's what. I think there were games where he played, but he wasn't 100% healthy. He's like had nagging injuries.
Well, I remember that. Yeah, there were a few where they weren't doing it.
So if you look at his total touches, in 2020 he had 160 total touches. In 2021 he had 213, and in last year he had 147. So Miles Sanders, I believe, ended up with over 300 total touches last year, especially if you include the playoffs. So he's never carried that type of workload, and obviously Penny has never had that type of workload.
So if we're going to do odds, give me 1 sec. I want to get into the odds here real quick. I also want to ask you a question about a particular part of Swift's game. But first, before we get these odds up, download the BetParx Sports.
Come on.
And Casino. I mean, what are we doing here? It's back.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, it is an awesome time. We've talked a lot about how much of a fun time it is in Philly sports right now, and it is yesterday, notwithstanding. But it's also such a fun time in sports to be able to make some money and have some fun watching the game, particularly with all these playoff games happening right now, like both in hockey and in basketball. Like,
right.
I've been glued to my television. Have some action on it. Like, I'm watching the whatever, like Lakers Warriors. Like, I'm a freaking Sixer. Like, it's just the Lakers or the Sixers. Or like it totally changes the way you watch these games. You're gonna watch anyway because you care so much more if you have some action on it.
So I've said this before, but it's so true. I've had the app up open almost nonstop for every Sixers game, just seeing. And look, last night I think maybe through the third. I saw your tweets. Maybe through the third. Yeah, they took it off the board. Yeah. So you feel like that wasn't going well, but even for Lakers Warriors, I mean, I am cheesily just very excited for LeBron versus Steph. It's great. Yeah. But it still makes it more exciting when you have a little something.
It's so much more exciting. I want to watch it anyway. Throw some action on it, and you can bet on individual player performances, points, rebounds, assists. If you're watching baseball, homers, strikeouts, all the good stuff. It is such a blast. Live in-game betting, same game parlays. There is so many ways to have fun with the app and watching sports. And here's the deal: if you sign up now, new users, if you win $10 on your first bet, if it is a winner, if you bet $10 winner, you get $125 in bonus back. Again, if your bet is a winner, you must be 21 and present in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Ohio. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, quickly, before we set the odds, I want to ask you one other question based on your Nick Sirianni comment.
Okay.
About whether he wants a number one back. How much do you think Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, by extension, want to throw to backs? Because we just assume Miles Sanders wasn't good at it, so they didn't use it. You've got a guy here in Swift now who is very good in the receiving game, but also something that has not really been a part of Nick's offense. We don't know if that's just a Miles or if that's philosophical with the riding aside, the read option. It doesn't really fit as well. Your thoughts on Swift and the potential for him to be used in the past?
So if you look at Swift's career as a receiver, he has 46 catches his rookie year. He goes up to 62 his second year. Super impressive out of the backfield. And then 48 last year. He averages almost pretty much 8 yards a catch throughout his career. So you're right. He can be an impact player in the passing game. Do they want to do it? I just find it hard to believe they don't. Now, I think Miles, you look at his career, he comes out his rookie year. He has a few nice catches. The knock about him coming out of Penn State was he wasn't able to catch the ball. His rookie year, he dispels that a little bit. And then the rest of his career, he's not great at it. They don't do it. If you look at the backs, though, that Sirianni has coached, he had Austin Eckler. We all know what he can do as a pass catcher. He had Jonathan Taylor briefly in Indianapolis. He had Marlon Mack there. Like all guys that can catch the ball. So when I look at Sirianni, what I think he wants to do, especially when last year, part of the problem for this team really throughout the year, but especially, for 2 or 3 game stretches, it really became something we talked about, was blitz pickup. And part of the reason I think they struggled with that, and we can look at this in the Super Bowl. I mean, I bring it up often, but it really hammers the point home. Key series, second half, it's third down, I believe. Was it third or second down? And they have rushers coming at Hurts. And if you look, everybody is moving upfield and their eyes are not on Hurts. So I think that one way they can really help with the blitz pickup is having a receiving back that can go out and be a pass catcher. So I do think Sirianni wants to do it. And, who knows? I mean, Sirianni does like to play to fans, but ultimately this is also a franchise that has a rich history of running screens.
Absolutely.
And they have an offensive line that should be great at it, right? Especially
athletic, can get downfield.
Well, especially if Cam Jurgens is going to be
no
there,
doubt.
right? Cam
It
Jurgens
should be you're right, a feature.
I mean, think about the right side of that line. Kelsey, Jurgens, and Lane. You get those guys out in space with Penny behind them. I mean, that can be really special. And if you look last year, they ran a lot of tight end screens, and Goddard's
it was an effective play.
And Goddard's
every
good at it.
Time,
and Goddard's really good at it. But overall, a running back should be better.
DeAndre Swift a lot better at making guys miss in
so
that situation.
When you talk about how Penny and Swift complement each other, I think Swift is obviously an elite receiving back. I think it would be foolish not to get him involved in the pass game. And I think that they want to. I think it's a great way to combat blitzes. I think it's a great way. We have so many conversations about how Jalen stays healthy. One way for him to stay healthy is to dump it down to Swift as opposed to running. Now, I don't ever want Jalen to change how he plays. I hope he plays the same way because he's a dynamic player when he does it. But if he's in the pocket and Swift is sitting there, obviously you can dump it down to him.
Let's get to the odds. Your thoughts on what we should do for rushing yards, total yards for these guys. Now, remember, I think that when these odds come out, there have not been a lot of individual player odds come out, that gets out closer to the season and all that. But in terms of that, I think that they will play the middle, so to speak, and just because you're worrying about injury and you're worrying about usage.
And you don't know how they're going to be used.
We are two unknowns here. So I think they have to play it safe, right? So I think depending on how you feel about these two guys, and obviously the ability to stay healthy, I think there will be an opportunity here in that I think that one of the guys could end up completely blowing away the
I agree with that. And I don't think they'll come in super high. So as he said, Swift, 878 total yards, just over 1,000 his second year, 900 his third year. I think that Swift is going to end up being the clear-cut number one back.
Wow. So if you do, then whatever number you said you should go over, it would be.
Let's say it's 850, or maybe they might go a little higher. They might go over 1,000 total yards.
I don't think so.
Total yards?
I mean, he's never had over 1,000.
Well, he did his second year.
He did.
1,069.
Either way, he's been under 1,000 each time.
Right, but
they also with these numbers they factor an injury when they put him in. Like they don't.
But he's only missed.
And he's going to a better team. Like
I think being with the Eagles offense.
I'll take the under if it's 1,000.
Well, what did Miles have last year? Miles
way more than 1,000. Miles was a proven running back.
Right.
He was the clear number one here. We don't know who the number one is.
So I think Swift is going to be the number one.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
I'm just saying if we're factoring. No, I know, but if we're factoring in like what we think over
under. Vegas has to decide, or whoever sets these lines has to decide what the number is.
So for what it's worth, the last 3 years, Miles Sanders had just over 1,000 yards total 3 years ago, 912 the year before last year, and then 1,300.
So that makes me more concerned about Swift in the sense that, again, I think
Miles
Sanders
time.
was the number one back too. Like there was no question.
So what would you set it as?
I would say like 900
total.
Yeah.
What would you put as? Okay.
Again, he could go way over this. I'm just saying, based on those numbers you just showed me, and the fact that we don't know he's going to be the number one guy. So maybe 1,000.
Yeah.
Like either way, the point is whatever the number is. If you believe Swift's going to be the number one guy, then you bet over. I think Penny's better. Like if I think ultimately if I had to bet who has more yards, I would bet on Swift because like the if he stays healthy thing with Rashad Penny is like I don't expect him to stay healthy. He never ever has. Like it'd be awesome if he could. He never has. But like I'm saying, if you said both these guys are going to stay healthy, who has a better year? I think it's Penny.
So. Let me preface it by saying this. Rashard Penny is going to make the team. He's going, but he, I think, has potential surprise cut.
Because they invested less in him, is your point?
They only gave him, I think, $500,000 guarantee, which isn't nothing, but it certainly isn't a ton. And if you look at the running back room, they have Swift, Scott, Gainwell, Penny, and Trey Sermon. I think we would agree Kenny Gainwell is 1,000% making the team.
Sermon's gone. I mean, unless he has an amazing camp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like if Penny's banged up throughout camp and Sermon's awesome,
sure,
I could see it.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, and again,
whereas I think Swift is mean, they traded a fourth
It
round pick
all
to get
comes
him.
to Penny being healthy, though.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Look, again, I think Swift, of these two, and let's say I think Penny's yards would be lower because of the injury thing. So, but my point is, I would bet on Swift because of the injury stuff. But I think, again, if they both, I knew for a fact they were going to stay healthy, I think Penny's a better runner.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I agree he's a better runner. I think.
And I think in this offense, the running back who does the running is going to do better than the running back who does the receiving.
Yes. I
So
think we end on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little NBA playoffs here. As check out Clap Your Hands, everybody. If you have not, Elliot, Kyle Newbeck talking Sixers, going on an epic run right now.
Little less fun after game 2.
Yeah, I think so. Your thoughts just on the Sixers, the series odds right now. The Celtics still the clear favorite.
It dipped pretty low yesterday.
It
At
did.
one point,
It's
it was
back
like
up.
Celtics minus 170, I think.
Yeah, I think it is still minus 170 right now.
Okay,
I will pull it up again. I just had it up in the studio there. So as of right now, to win the NBA championship, let me get the futures here, not the games tonight. Okay. So the Sixers the Celtics are plus 180. So it has gone back up. So the Celtics are plus 180. Do you want to guess who is next to win the title?
Celtics plus 180. I'm going to guess the Nuggets.
That is correct, and they should be plus 300.
After that, is it the Warriors?
They're down at 1, so who would it be?
No. Oh, the Lakers?
Lakers.
Okay.
Plus 500.
Right. I would think the Warriors might still.
Warriors and Sixers are tied next at plus 700. And then Suns are plus 1,400.
I think, unfortunately,
the Heat and the Knicks are plus 2,000.
So I don't think the Heat or the Knicks are going to win the title.
No.
But the unfortunate reality is one of them is going to be in the Eastern Conference.
Without a doubt.
So if you want to take 10 shekels and throw it, just because who knows? I mean, like, I don't know. Tatum breaks his hand game 1 of the finals, or Embiid's really hurt, or,
And look, it's Jimmy Butler. Like I don't think I would bet on the Knicks because I think the Knicks can beat the Heat in this series.
Yeah, I don't. But you're right. It could be close.
It could be close.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Knicks have. I think the Knicks literally have a 0% chance of winning the title. I think the Heat have like a 3% chance.
Yeah,
of winning the title.
plus 2,000 is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So with the Sixers, where I'm at is like, I don't think the Celtics are as good as I thought. I have not been impressed with them the first 2 games.
Well, they were a pretty good game too.
They had a really good third quarter. They didn't come out and play that great. It was relatively low scoring. No, I know. But the Sixers,
that's what happens.
Right, for sure. But they had a really good third quarter. But I think the Sixers are still going to win the series. So I'm still in on the Sixers.
Yeah, you're
but
such a homer with the Sixers.
I really don't think I am. I mean, they won game 1. I think yesterday was the Embiid rust game. And game 3 will decide the series. Game 3 will tell us everything we need to know about the Sixers because it has all the qualities, right? They're at home. So, you're going to step up to the moment. Embiid's getting his MVP. How is he going to handle it? Is he going to come out and be amazing, or is he going to be an emotional wreck the entire game? It's the Celtics, the team that is, haunted you for years. It's the second round. So Friday will tell us everything we need to know. And I think they're going to win the game. And if they come out and win the game, I think they win the series. I mean, teams that go up 1-0 in playoff series win 77% of the time. And I know it's not a perfect stat. Teams lose all the time if they go up 1-0. But the reality is the series is the Sixers to lose. It's a 5-game series and they have home court advantage.
Yeah, it's not the Sixers to lose. I would say they're a better position than they were before, obviously. But like this, Celtics are still the favorite.
Yeah,
very clearly still the favorite, and they should be. They have been the better team all season long than the Sixers, and they've been to championships. They've been to Eastern Conference Finals. Like they just have more playoff metal, more playoff experience than the Sixers do, and that matters. I agree, though. Look, I think in terms of betting, when we just went through those odds, I think there are 2 clear bets that jump off the page to me, and I think the Sixers are one of them. Sixers should not be plus 700. Well, the
good news is if they can win the series.
That's my real quick. Like those Sixers odds are good because again, the point you made before, whoever wins this series is almost definitely going to the finals.
100%.
Like again, it's not a lock. Jimmy Butler, does wild stuff and whatever, but it is almost a lock that whoever wins this series is going to the finals. Plus 700 is way too high.
Yeah.
The best bet on the board is the Nuggets, though. We got to be honest. Plus 300, they have just played the best.
Yeah.
They've been the best team so far in the playoffs. Jokic has been amazing. I know we hate on him here.
He's
been amazing in the playoffs. They're the best team. They have the home court advantage, the best home court advantage in sports, the most meaningful.
I mean, plus 300. I know.
Plus 300. I'm talking from a bet perspective.
Yeah. I mean, look, obviously I can't bring myself to bet.
I know you can.
But I've never liked the Nuggets even before it. So.
I mean, They need to get like a Nuggets Sixers final. A Jokic and
I know.
is like the most perfect outcome
I agree.
that could ever happen in the history of the world.
And if you're in like the league's fixed thing,
yeah,
here you go.
and I will say I wish their odds are better because I do think I did not think for a long time this year the Lakers could win the title. The Lakers could win the title.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Anthony Davis is playing unbelievable.
He's been great. And LeBron, like, yeah, he's old, but he's still one of the best players on the planet.
Agreed,
and he's
yeah.
still LeBron freaking James in those moments. And their role guys have been pretty good. Like Reeves is all right. And like they're getting games from guys. Like Roy Hachimura is not that good, but he had the Roy Hachimura game. Like they're like guys are stepping up for them. So like I do not think the Suns, to the point we made, I think the Suns are
unfortunately
it's not going to
done,
work
yeah.
out with Chris Paul.
Yeah, he's hurt.
And I think neither of the Knicks and Miami are winning, but I think anyone else can win the title, essentially, you know?
Yeah, so I would say...
Because the Warriors, of course, could. I don't think they will,
Yeah.
but like they won it last year. They
Agreed.
could win it, for sure.
Agreed. Yeah. So I think it's pretty wide open, but look, I still like the Sixers plus 700.
Again, honestly, just
Yeah.
pure odds. Just pure odds. I think Denver, I would pick Denver over the Sixers to win it, but pure odds, the Sixers are the best bet.
Yeah, I think so.
I agree, especially because last night, like, Embiid looked at least healthy. Like, he looked healthier than
I was
thought.
discouraged by Embiid, to be honest.
See, I was
but
encouraged.
I don't
He
know,
was
man.
running back down the
Maybe my
court.
expectations were too
Way
high.
too high. I
but,
thought he was going to look like crap out there. Like, he was, like, flying around and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know,
I
man.
was super encouraged. Honestly, like, I that was the thing that made me feel the best.
I just don't know if he looks ready to score. And I think they're going to win. So I get this as talking on both sides of my mouth. But I don't know, man. Did it look like he was getting ready to score 30-plus points 3 more times for them to win?
I don't know. I just thought he looked healthier. I don't think
he looked better on defense.
I don't think they're winning the series.
I know
so,
you don't. Yeah.
I think the Celtics are winning the series.
Right.
So,
yeah.
All right. Final thoughts.
All right. So speaking of odds,
yes.
This is what. All right. Take yourself back to win Full House.
I hope this will live up to the eyebrow.
Well, we got some eyebrow feedback as well.
Yes, were people in or out on the eyebrow?
Honestly, it was pretty mixed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
The King Arthur thing, I think, was the real winner of me saying, "What if King Arthur did it?" Apparently, not a real king.
That's what I said.
And there must be
so you could have picked a real person.
There must have been. Although what's funny, I think Joe said King Arthur this morning on the show.
You did.
All right. So take yourself back to when Full House was really popular.
Oh, sure.
Right.
I
Olsen,
lived it, big dog.
The Olsen twins are just in that show. They're stars. They come out. They have the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Like they do like the detective videos, and they're just like the biggest stars ever. Right.
Remember the song? Well,
I remember a lot of the songs. You have to be more specific.
The
Full House song. Yeah, I thought you meant the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen song.
I think
Come on.
this one.
Brother for Sale was a banger. I remember that.
Oh, that's so funny that Emily and her sister, that's like one of their songs.
Yeah, that's
sister for sale.
Well,
but the Full House theme song.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, of course.
Whatever
I was outside the Full House theme.
Okay, good. So you know it.
Yeah,
that's good.
Of course. All right.
The milkman. All right.
It is a great
song.
Yeah.
It's a great catchy song.
What are the odds you think you could have got when they were at their height that Elizabeth Olsen, their sister,
I like this,
was going to end up having a more successful career?
So you got to rephrase that. A more successful acting career.
Yeah.
The Olsen twins are worth like hundreds of millions of dollars. They are like
right.
Clothing, like all that stuff. Like the Olsen twins, the books, the movies. Like,
yeah,
the Olsen twins have been crazy successful. Like the most successful people from Full House are the Olsen twins without
by
a
far.
doubt.
I agree.
As actors, it's a great point. Elizabeth Olsen has lapped them by miles.
She's in all types of amazing things.
She's
amazing in everything she's
right?
in. Well, she's in this new show on HBO. It's called Love and Death, I think.
Well, she's in all the Marvel
We watched
stuff.
she was in that. She was in that, like, not science. It was science fiction, but God, I can't remember. It was a TV show where it bounced through different genres, whatever. She's been in a lot of really
through different genres.
Not years of, and the guy was a robot. Oh, it's kind of like a real life Futurama. Why can't I think of it?
Real life Futurama.
I don't know.
Are you talking about the Marvel show?
Yes.
Yeah, Wanda. Her name. What's it called? I saw it.
Yeah. I can't think of the name. And the guy is like a red robot.
It's Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just crazy to me that you're right. First of all, it's also wild to think the Olsen twins were a huge deal and you never hear from them.
Yeah.
They completely walked away from fame. And I'm sure wherever they go, they still get recognized. But I'm just saying, you don't see them in movies. You don't see them doing interviews. You don't see them.
That happened to a lot of kid actors, for what it's worth.
Yeah, but I feel like for how big they were, they just completely shunned it, which is wild.
No, they didn't. They used their fame to make a lot of money.
Right, but I mean, you don't see them do anything.
Well, they did all those movies and stuff.
Yeah, but it's been, when's the last time they were in anything? 15 years.
Well, they're not
10 years?
actors. They're multimillionaires.
Yeah.
They're business
No, that's the
people.
point I'm making.
Yes.
That considering how big they were, the fact that they just walked away from being in the spotlight. You're right. They still make money and all those things, but you don't actually see them. And it is just crazy to think Elizabeth Olsen, you're right. Financially, not where the Olsen twins are at.
Although
but-
she's probably doing very well.
But from a career perspective, you know, if you take the money out of it, I think almost any actor would pick her career in terms of being in, you know,
But again,
legitimate.
But the point is, like, very clearly the Olsen twins did not want to be actors.
Right.
Which could, when you're that young and you're put into something like I get what you're saying, but for them, they probably never, like, they didn't want to do that. So it's
Another
not
good
that,
example.
You know, like, they're like,
yeah.
it's not crazy to them because, like, we didn't want to be actors. You know
Another
what I mean?
good example of this is Macaulay Culkin and his brother.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His younger brother's in Succession.
Yeah.
Probably, I mean, look, Home Alone is bigger, obviously.
Macaulay Culkin was the most famous person in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just, I'm glad to see these younger brothers and sisters who probably had to grow up being like, I'm never going to be as popular as my older brother, you know, making a push for it.
This is a younger sibling comment.
Well, I'm an older.
Yeah,
I'm
I
the
know
oldest.
you are.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so confused. Like this,
Yeah.
I don't know why you care.
I just think it's crazy that Elizabeth Olsen ended up being the one that's more relevant
it's a
now.
very deep thought
Yeah.
for you today.
Thank you.
you.
After the eyebrow one,
Yeah,
had to come back with something else.
You're on a roll.
Thank
we'll
you.
say. Mine is much more simplistic. Oh, Zoe quote for you, by the way, real quick. Last night she said she never drinks milk anymore. She's drinking all the time, but she
Probably
just
good.
randomly wanted milk, and she goes, "I want milk, the white drinky thing, like milk from the fridge." Sweet, dude.
In case you were unaware of what milk was.
It's like good breakdown.
Yeah.
Here's my final thought. Much less deep than yours,
Okay.
if you can call yours deep.
Yeah.
You can
Multi-layered.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go with multi-layered. I'm always impressed by people with fancy signatures. Never been able to do it. Back in the day, everyone always, you practice
Right.
signature one way or another. Mine's just a swooping J with an S. Like it's not.
I have a
I-
very fancy
used to-
signature.
I'm always impressed. And
There's
the
a
people who
pen
can
here, I would do it.
recreate it, and it looks like super nice. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like printed on or whatever. I'm so impressed by that. I can't do it. All you people with fancy signatures, well done.
So I guess I wouldn't say maybe fancy is not what I would say.
It's neat.
My name lends itself to a cool signature.
Okay, hold on.
Like a Elliott Shore Parks type thing. Hold on, let me. So there's another reason to watch on YouTube, by
Yes.
the way.
There we
Not that
go.
anyone's
All
been
right,
able to see
here's a
it,
pen.
but
Got a pen for you.
okay. So am I doing it like I'm signing an autograph, or am I doing it like?
You want an autograph?
Well, that's how I used to
You want
practice it growing
autograph?
up. Come
Oh my
on.
goodness.
All right. So here we go. Ready?
Yes. Okay, so that is not at all what I'm talking about.
Right.
You're
Here's
just
a
scribbling
better version of it.
You're
I messed it up.
scribbling. Yes.
You don't think that looks cool? No.
I
one
mean,
can
it
do
looks
it.
kind of cool. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fancy. Here, give me the thing. I'm talking about like.
All right. So here's I'm signing my mortgage thing. Okay. Ready? Here we go.
Yes. Yes. See, I'm talking about that, except way nicer than what you're doing.
Okay.
Like,
So I
this
think
just looks like mine
mostly.
does. Like if I were to do my name, I do like that as my quick one.
Yeah.
But if I were to, I could do like
Well, the J looks good.
yeah, the J's fun.
Yeah, the J's good.
I could do like a little, like that kind of thing. If I really
But
rang
what's
out
tough with yours is
the Z.
the Z.
But I will say, like I'm talking about the people who write it out like that. For those who can't see, like the kind
Yeah,
of
nobody
fancy-
can because it's on the
see
table.
fancy, see, it's mostly scribbles and stuff. But the ones who it's like you can read their name perfectly and stuff, but it's like literally looks like they've taken a stamp
Yeah.
and it is like perfect cursive and it is like a fancy little swirl on the end or whatever. Like I am impressed by people who have super fancy signatures and are committed to being very neat and fancy with their
Well, let's be honest. It's mostly women that are good at this.
Oh yeah.
Like
No,
my,
no.
like Kristen's signature when she does it
Way
is
nicer.
just like that.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
props to them.
Props to them.
Yeah.
Shout out to the ladies. All right, you got
Props to
anything
the
else?
queens. No,
Okay, me neither.
got it all.
Yeah, I think we got it all. We'll see you guys on Saturday.
Yeah, Go Birds Radio on Saturday.
Go Birds Radio together again.
Yes.
It'll be a beautiful thing. Until then, he's on. Oof. Almost on 40 minutes on that one. What are we doing?
the low chat today, but shout out to Zach and Dang. Thank you so much.
Love
for,
you guys.
for
Thanks
being
for
here.
showing up.
See you guys next time.